Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, on mute.
Hare Krishna. Did you finish the song, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we will just thank you very much for joining this beautiful morning. Hope and pray that every one of you must have a wonderful journey in the Talaman. And we will be continue reading the Jaiva Dharma. I'm not going to take a chance to acknowledge all the devotees, wonderful devotees. So I'm going to skip that part. Please forgive me because I don't want to make a mistakes. I just walked in. So before we read, we would like to offer our humble obeisances at the dusk of the lotus feet of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who has given us a wonderful books to dwell on it and learn so many new things. Yesterday was very profound that Samvit Shakti is the one that have different relationship and emotions. And Sandhini Shakti is creating all these wonderful things like a Govardhan Hill, Radha Kund, and all those different places to enhance the pastimes. And the Ladini Shakti is give wonderful pastimes in ecstasy of the divine couple. So I'll read the last paragraph. The Ladini Shakti transform into amorous pastimes and thereby keeps Sri Krishna engrossed in sublime ecstasy. The Samvit Shakti manifests the myriads of mystical moods and relationship, thus supplying Sri Krishna with constant amusement, leading to his helical participation. Sri Krishna playing his flute to attract the gopis, taking the cows to graze, performing the Rasa Lila dance, etc., are example of activities arranged by the Samvit Shakti. The Sandhini Shakti maintains the spiritual abode of Shivraj, wherein Sri Krishna remains immersed in the exchange of spiritual ras. Shivraj is the highest and most esoteric place of Sri Krishna's pastimes. So that's where we left yesterday. So we will continue reading. Vrajanath, dear Master, you have explained that Sandhini, Samvit, and Haldini are three properties of the Swarup Shakti, and that these three properties are minutely present in the Jiva Shakti and perversely reflected in the Maya Shakti. I'm eager to learn the details of the manner in which these three properties are present in these two Shaktis. Raghunath Das Babaji. A diminutive portion of the Swarup Shakti is present in the Jiva. Therefore, her three properties are also present within the Jiva in a small quantity. The Ladini Shakti is present in the Jiva as perfect Brahmananda, the bliss of Brahman, transcendence, which is ready to be realized at any time. The Samvik Shakti is manifested in the Jiva as Brahmagyan, knowledge of the undifferentiated absolute truth. And the Sandhini Shakti is manifested in the Jiva as Anuchaitanya, the minute spark of the Supreme Consciousness. When these same properties are projected into the Maya Shakti on the material plane, they behave differently because of the resultant contamination. The Ladini Shakti is exhibited as gross mundane pleasure, Samvit Shakti as materialistic knowledge, and Sandhini Shakti as the 14 planetary system of the material creation and the physical forms encasing the jiva. Vrajanath, how can Shakti be said to be achintya if every activity she performs is subject to a hair-splitting analysis for comprehension by the intellect? Raghunath Das Babaji, the individual points of this subject of Shakti can be separately contemplated on, but as a whole, concerning their esoteric interrelationship and subtle juxtapositions, the Shakti of Sri Krishna is quite inconceivable to the human intellect. On this material plane, conflicting and contradictory natures cannot coexist in one place or in one person because such contrasting natures mutually destroy one another. However, the Shakti of Sri Krishna is so inconceivable that the seemingly contrary emotions, nature, and qualities of the spiritual world eternally coexist harmoniously in pristine splendor. Sri Krishna is simultaneously personal with a beautiful form and impersonal with an awe-inspiring presence, both all-pervasive and embodied, inactive and dynamically creative, unborn and born of his parents, Devaki and Vasudeva, and Yasoda and Ananda, the supreme Godhead, worshipped by all, and yet simple cowherd boy, omniscient, and yet accepting an incarnation that manifests human emotions with form and qualities, yet also formless and unqualified, beyond sense perception, and yet the personification of Rash, unlimited and yet limited by performing. His pastime as incarnations, unattainable and far away, yet very near in the heart of everyone. Immutable and unconcerned, yet filled with consternations at the anger of the gopis. These are innumerable examples of how these apparently conflicting emotions sustain as well as accelerate the transcendental pastime of the Lord. Be it in regard to the personality of the Lord, his Dham, his associates, or paraphernalia. The eternal harmony of this opposing aspect indicate the inconceivable status of his Shakti. Vrajanath, do the Vedas subscribes to this view? Raghunath Das Babaji. This truth is simply supported in the Vedas. For example, in the Sweet Swaratara Upanishad 179, Apani Phado Jivano Graha Pasyanti Achaksu Sa Shrunoti Akranaha Saveti Vedyam Nacha Tasyasti Vetatam Ahur Agrayam Purusham Mahantam. Although the Supreme Lord is without hands and legs, he is always in motion and always receives every offering as he possesses a transcendental body with limbs. He can see without eyes and hear without ears, as his senses and organs are entirely spiritual. He is the sole witness of every activity and the knower of all that is to be known, but no one knows him or can judge him as he is. The limited intellect of man cannot comprehend that he is a perfect spiritual body composed of supramundane senses. The Brahmagyanis, those who know the absolute truth, glorify him as the most magnanimous and the fountainhead of all causes. The Isopanishad verse 5 state, Tad ejati tan naijati, tad dure tad vantike, tad antarasya sarvasya, tad yu sarva syasya bahiyataha. The Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. He is far away, yet he is very near as well. He is within everything, and yet again he is outside of everything. Further, Isopnath, verse 8 state, Saparyagaj chukram akyam auranam asnaviram suddham apapa vidham kavir manisi paribhu swayambhur yathat atyato arthan vyada taj chasvat vyaya shama vyaya. That Supreme Soul is all pervasive, pure, without mundane, subtle, and gross bodies, immutable, without veins, without material designation, transcendent, brilliantly beautiful, omniscient, unsurpassable, and self manifest. He personally bestowed upon all eternal entities their particular natures through the agency of his inconceivable potency. Vrajanath. It is mentioned in the Vedas that the absolute independent Supreme Lord spontaneously decided to descend to this earth as an incarnation. Raghunath Das Babaji. Yes, there are numerous examples in the Vedas. The Talwakar, the Kena Upanishad, described a discussion between Uma and Lord Shiva. Indra and the other devtas, after defeating the Asuras in the fierce battle, became extremely arrogant and proud, even amongst themselves. Unannounced and quite suddenly, the Supreme Lord descended in a wondrous, glorious form and asked of the Devas the reason for their pride. The Lord then gave them a single blade of grass and asked them to destroy it by their own powers. However, to the total amazement of all assembled, Agni, the god of fire, using all his power, could not burn the grass in the least. And then Vayu, the god of wind, completely failed to blow the blade of grass away. Actually, none of the Devas succeeded in fulfilling the command of the Lord. Therefore, they realized and accepted the divine instruction of the Supreme Lord, the dazzling beauty and wonderful prowess of the Lord, enthralled them in awe, as in the Kena Upanishad 3.6. Tasmai trunam nidathav etat daheti tad upapreyaya sarva javena tanna sasaka dagdhum satata eva nivrutte naitad asakam vignatum yat etat yakshan iti. The Yaksha, being the Supreme Lord, placed a blade of grass before Agni, the god of fire, and requested him, "Show me how you can burn this." Agni tried all possible means within his powers, but failed to burn it. He was ashamed and went back to the other devas and said, "I could not comprehend who this great personality actually is." The purport of these mysterious incidents is that the Supreme Lord, who is described everywhere as captivatingly beautiful, descend at will and on the spur of the moment to sport in pastimes with the jivas. Brajanath, I have heard that the Supreme Lord is the endless source of Ras. Where is this mentioned in the Vedas? Raghunath Das Babaji. The following unequivocal statement is cited from the Taittiriya Upanishad 271 as follows. Yadvai tat rasho vaisa rasam hi evayam labhvan nadi bhavati kohi evanyat ka pranyat yad esa akas anando nasyat esa hi eva nanda yati. The one who has been described in the previous verse of the Upanishad as the paragon of piety and merit is in truth Param Brahma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the embodiment of Ras. Only when the Jiva is able to attain him, the Ras Swarup, the embodiment of spiritual mellows, can he be truly happy. Who could breathe without the Lord giving breath? Who could be happy without the Lord giving happiness? It is He who gives transcendental bliss. Vrajanath, when He is Rashvarup, why the gross materialistic cannot see Him? Raghunath Das Babaji. There are two groups of Mayabad Jivas, conditioned souls. One group are Parak, spiritually apathetic. They turn their back to Sri Krishna, being attracted to matter. The other group is Pratyak, spiritually attracted. They face Sri Krishna, being drawn to the inner self and Sri Krishna. The extroverted Parak Jivas deny Sri Krishna by turning their back on the Lord. They are deprived of beholding His sublime, beauteous splendor. Their consciousness is projected into the material phenomena. Thus, they see and think only of matter. On the other hand, the introverted Pratyak Jivas are averse to Maya and are attracted to Sri Krishna, being thereby eligible to pursue Sri Krishna, who is the embodiment of the all blissful spiritual mellows. The Katha Upanishad 211 state as follows. Paranchi khani vyatnat swayam bhus tasmat paran pasyati nantar atman kaschit dhira pratyak atmanam akshayat avrutta chakshu amrutvam icham. Swayambhu Lord Brahma has designed the senses of the jiva in such a way that they are naturally driven outward onto the matter. And hence, the consciousness of the jiva is projected externally. These extrovert inclinations prevent the jiva from seeing the Paramatma manifestation of the Supreme Lord within himself. Only a meager handful of dhiras, introspective sages, have an intense desire to obtain immortal nectar in the form of pure bhakti to Sri Radha Krishna. These dhiras withdrew their senses from the external sense object, and by projecting these senses inward, see the Supreme Personality of Godhead who reside within. Vrajana. Kindly delineate in detail the embodiment of spiritual malice, who is described in the Vedas, Taittiriya Upanishad 271, with the words Raso Vaisaha Rasam Hi Eva Yam Labdhavanandi Bhavati. He himself is a ras, the taste or mallow of a particular relationship. Certainly, one who achieves this ras becomes Anandi, filled with bliss. Raghunath Das Babaji. We come across these verses in the Gopal Tapni, Purva 13.1. Gopavesam abrabham tarunam kalpadrumastrim satpundrika nayanam meghabham vaidyatambaram Bhujam Mona Mudra Dhyayan Vana Malinam Iswaram. Only 3 lines. Behold that ever youthful boy, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, dressed as a cowherd boy with eyes like lotus petals. His complexion is that of a fresh monsoon clouds, and his aura shines more dazzingly than the lightning bolt. He wears a brilliant golden yellow dhoti. His two-handed form is most exquisite. He is omniscient, and a garland of wild flowers adorn his chest. Anyone who meditates upon this wonderful form of the Lord is immediately released from the shackles of sansar. Vrajanath, now at last I have understood the truth that Sri Krishna alone is the absolute embodiment of complete perfection, eternally situated in the spiritual realm, the omnipotent supreme shelter of all living entities, the personification and repository of every transcendental mallow and relationship. He is unattainable for the monastic jnanis and only partially revealed as the Paramatma to the mystic yogis pursuing the path of Ashtanga Yoga. Impersonal Brahman is his bodily effulgence. He is the highest worshipable deity, the eternal and absolutely spiritual Supreme Personality. Yet, I cannot easily approach him because he is transcendental to intellectual interrogations. However, can man employ anything else beside his intellect to research this matter? Be he either a high-born Brahmana or a low-caste Chandal. I feel that it is an extremely onerous task to attract his mercy. Raghunath Das Babaji. In the Kathopanishad 2-13, we find the relevant passage once more. Tam atmastham ye anupasyanti dhiras tesam santi saswati netaresham. Only those learned persons who can perceive the Supreme Lord Paramatma within their heart can attain lasting happiness, not others. I think we will stop here. It's so philosophical, huh? My mind doesn't work that deep with philosophy that much. I'm a simple guy, but I'm trying to learn something. By whenever Krishna will become pleased, he will give us complete understanding. We have to keep on reading. Little at a time, we will get little realization. The picture will become slowly and slowly visible, and then it will become very sharp in the image. And that's how the spiritual knowledge works. So, with those thoughts, always remain happy, jubilant, and totally fearless. And whoever you come across, give them a kind word that their life also can become successful and totally fearless. With those thoughts, I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the desk of these wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who take so much austerity. I'm really seeing all the Grihastha getting up and join at least 8, 10 devotees before 2:30 is amazing. And at 3 o'clock, we have about 18 or 20. That's really, I can't conceive properly that how can they do this? They are very elevated soul. So I'm really offering my humble obeisances at the desk of the devotees who joined from Houston, from India, New Jersey, Virginia, Boston, Boise, Atlanta, Austin, Alachua, College Station, Tempe, Phoenix, San Jose, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago, Naperville, Philadelphia, Charlotte, New Orleans, Baltimore, Portland, and Dhaka, and also Orlando. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you very much, everyone. May you have a very blissful day. And always, like I said, try to remember at least those pastimes, those eight pastimes that Radha and Krishna perform throughout the day and night. And somehow or other, if you adjust little schedule, because I have to now stay up until 8:30 because 8:24 the pastime happened 8:24 to 10:48. So I don't want to miss that now. So I stay up and then I start going at 8:30 to sleep and still wake up at the same time and hope see how it works. But it's really sublime to remember those. We have to engage our mind and heart, remembering more and more about Radha and Krishna. And slowly we will see the attractions for all other things will be vanquished very easily. Because it's so sublime. Once we taste it, I don't think that we have a taste for the mundane material activities. Slowly we will become attached. So we constantly pray for the mercy of those personality who carry the love in their heart. And Radha and Krishna, please be merciful to keep us alert about your external energy, so dangerous. We don't want to miss the opportunity you have given us. So please kind to us and help us to remain steadfast in your devotion. That's all we can pray.